Aren't you the one with that great video? Shannon, I didn't see any damage to your car. Where'd you hit you?
Well, there is damage.
Yeah.
But it's not bad.
Sore subject? Yeah. Still drivable though, right?
It wasn't my fault.
All right. Cool. Are you guys ready? Go ahead and rock and roll. All right, cool. So we're going to talk about today is kind of new marketing ideas, ways to kind of build a brand and establish a presence in the marketplace. Linda's going to join us too. All right, cool. All right, so effective ways of getting exposure and kind of creating your identity in the market. As we know, guys, there's a ton of real estate agents out there. We've got a ton of competition, so you've really got to separate yourself with regard to branding and creating your identity. It's really not that easy to do because there's so many of us, but it's really not as difficult as a lot of people make it. So just a few key things you want to focus on. It'll make it a whole lot easier for you. All right, so first of all, you want to give careful thought and consideration into kind of what you want to be your brand, how you want people to know you. You want to have something that's going to stand out, something that's going to be unique, and you also want to figure out what parts of the industry you want to focus on and what things you want to specialize in. There's a lot of different areas. Some guys focus on international real estate. Some guys focus on inner loop real estate specifically. Some guys are specifically, geographic areas, the Woodlands or whatever. And then also some folks specifically focus on different sectors of the industry itself, whether it be short sales, which you don't want to hone in on, or foreclosure business, or maybe divorces, or some type of distressed sale, or something along those lines. Maybe you want to focus specifically on investors. So there's a lot of different areas and sectors you can really dial in on. Just find an area that's interesting to you, or that you're interested in, and that you're going to want to really put your efforts and energy into, something that you'll remain passionate about naturally. Naturally, your brand and your identity is critical. It's probably the most critical real estate marketing tool that there is. There's a lot of resources out there, a lot of marketing things. You can pay for this and pay for signs and logos and all that kind of stuff. But most important, you want to make sure that you put time, consideration, and thought into the brand that you create, because it's how people are going to remember you. All right. Make sure it means something in the marketplace, and make sure that it provides a specific benefits to the clients, and lets them know exactly who you are and what you do. A guy who's works for another brokerage, Pearland Sam Ferrari. He's built. Originally, he was called Pearland Sam. That's where he built his business, and his foundation was there in Pearland. And he had this corny little stance that he did on every one of his signs, and he's been doing that for years and years. And that guy does a ton of business. You meet the guy firsthand. He's not some guy that you'd think would be a shrewd businessman or multi-millionaire, but just that one stand in the Pearland Sam, and he just branded, and everywhere he goes he does that. Totally different than anything else you'll see, and this guy does a mountain of business. So just think of something like that's going to stand out, and most important, you want to make sure that it's something that people are going to remember. Your brand needs to be centered around you, and again, like I said, what your interests are, the community that you want to focus on, and of course, whatever your expertise is. And also make sure that you're dynamic with that. The industry's going to change, the market's going to change. Sometimes an area that's really booming right now, a couple of years ago, those who were focused and proficient at doing short sales, that was a strong market. A lot of people weren't versed on that and weren't able to really perform in that area. Those who were and understood that market, they survived a downturn. Right now, it's a booming market. There's not a whole lot of short sales out there anymore. There's still some, but not a whole lot. So you got to be able to kind of be malleable and move to different sectors of our business. Does that make sense? So just make sure that, again, it's specific to you. It's something that you're interested in. You're going to maintain, an interest in. It's focused around your community and, of course, things that you're an expert in. And then, of course, make sure, again, the most important thing is make sure it's something that people are going to remember. Make an amazing video, right? So it's another great one. So make an amazing video. Become a radio show host. Write the #1 real estate blog in the state of Texas. Whatever it takes, separate yourself from everybody else. Shannon's built an amazing business and just a stellar reputation in the industry by doing something different, getting out there and being bold and being brave and separating herself from the rest of the marketplace out there. Same thing as Sam and Ronnie, Kathy Matthews, Gary Stallings, a lot of the big names that you'll see and hear in the business. They all do something different, and now those are names that you remember in the industry. All right. All right. First thing you want to do, especially if you're a new realtor, and a lot of times even if you're in the business for close to 20 years, you forget a lot of these things. First and foremost, make sure that everybody knows you're in the business. And there's a lot of different ways you can do this. First of all, wear your name tag. Whenever you got your tag, Grace has always got her name tag on. Mine's always hanging from my mirror in my truck, and then I realize when I'm at, an open house or home show, I'm like, man, where's my name tag? Oh, it's in my truck, right? So I've made it a point to keep it in my briefcase and keep it on me, and I'm going to make it a point to start wearing that and getting that exposure, because once you get complacent, if you will, and you stop doing the little things that make a big difference, you'll start to notice it in your pipeline and in your production, and that's a downward spiral. You can go down and you can buy these shirts down at HAR that say I'm a realtor. That's actually a picture of Keith, I think, tailgating one day, that says I'm a realtor. He says that he wears that thing to grocery stores or when he goes out shopping or whatever, and he gets stopped all the time because everybody wants to talk about real estate. Everybody's got a question about housing, how's the market, I'm thinking about selling, I'm thinking about buying. If they know you're a realtor, they're gonna ask you, all right? License plates. You can actually get vanity plates in the state of Texas for $50 that says I'm a Texas realtor right there on it. If you don't want to spend $50, you can spend $7 or $10 and go down to the HAR store and they've got the license plate frame that said that you're a realtor. If you really want to get crazy with it, you can actually wrap your car, go down and have the vinyl wrap done and brand your vehicle, with your face or just your contact information or whatever. But most importantly, make sure that everybody knows that you're in the real estate business and that you practice real estate.
And the goal is to get to where everybody knows it so well, you don't have to wear your name tag anymore.
Absolutely.
Where everywhere you go, they know who you are. The goal is to be where you walk in any room, everybody knows who you are.
Absolutely.
That's when you know you've done your job.
Yeah, absolutely. Like Sam. There's that guy. I hear somebody talking. What's that? All right, I just got feedback from, I guess, John or somebody. So. All right. Also, make sure you connect with your sphere of influence. Again, make sure that everybody knows if you're new in the business or if you haven't done so in a while, take a minute just to write a note, an introduction letter, if you will. Reach out through an email or reach out on your Facebook. There's 100 different ways you could do it, but a lot of times we're worried about chasing leads and buying leads and doing all these open houses and all the stuff that that we need to do as well, and we neglect what's right there in front of us, and that's our friends and our family and the people that we go to church with and the people who are members of your child's scout group or the PTA or whatever other organizations you're a part of. So reach out to those that are right around you and always contact with your sphere of influence. Okay. Another great way to expose yourself and get a lot of business. When I first came over to REA and I moved to this side of town, I was doing a lot of open houses. Actually established a few clients and picked up quite a few buyer clients whenever I started doing that. I haven't been doing as much of that. My pipeline's reflecting it. So this spring I'm going to get focused and get out there and start doing that. But that's a great way to introduce yourself to new buyers. They might not buy that exact house, but if they come in, they're not working with a realtor, and now you've got somebody that you can start to work with and try to help them out. Does that make sense? Are you doing open houses, a lot of them now? Or?
Oh, I do a lot of open houses. I do them every chance I can get.
Is it working out good for you?
Work out great, especially once you learn how to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the key thing. Make sure you're prepared. Make sure people know where you're going to be. Yeah, right. Most importantly, follow up. After the open house, make sure you stay in contact and do what you say you're going to do. But that's a place where you're going to find a hot prospect. If it's not a nosy neighbor, it's somebody who's actually looking to purchase a house.
Well, the thing about the nosy neighbors is that they're usually people who are thinking about selling. That's why they want to know what their neighbor's selling for. And if you can, most people disregard the nosy neighbor and only work with the buyers who come in. But if you can connect with that nosy neighbor and then stay in contact with them, sell their house. That's why they're there, to be nosies, because if you have no intention of selling the next 10 years, you're not going to go to your neighbor's open house. But when you're thinking about selling, that's where you go. You check out the agent, you check out the house, the price, all of it. So work with the nosy neighbor.
Yeah, absolutely. Everywhere you go, it's an opportunity to network. And to, again, make sure that everybody knows that you're a real estate agent and you're in the business of helping people buy and sell real estate. So. All right. A great resource that we have here. We've got one coming up. We had one last week in Cy Fair. That Woodlands is this week, correct? This weekend?
Woodlands is this coming weekend.
Okay. And that's a great show. You setting up right by the front again, like you did before?
Yep.
That's a great show. Everybody that comes in and out of there, it's right by the ticket booth, and everybody that comes in and out of the show walks right by the radio show. And if you haven't done a home show yet, it's absolutely worth your time to do it. Grace, have you done one?
I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, so last week was first one. So that's a presentation, isn't it? I mean, you've got the lights and the sound and the broadcast going on. There's a mobile broadcast booth that Shannon takes out with the radio show, and it gets people's attention. People are walking by, even when she's not broadcasting or doing an interview. Just the sound and the lights and the presence. I mean, people walking by and just stop and looking at it. It's a great opportunity to meet people. And generally at the home shows, those are people who own real estate or are thinking about buying real estate. Okay, so it's a great opportunity, and it's free for us. It costs a lot of money to go and rent a space. If you're a realtor or a company and you want to go and lease a space at one of these shows to try to get some exposure and meet people and capture leads, it costs a lot of money to do that. And Register Real Estate and the radio show does how many per year?
We do a whole bunch.
A lot.
10, 12 a year.
Right, and it's free for agents to attend. There's no better way to take advantage of part of what Houston Real Estate Radio and Register Real Estate brings for the agents. It's a huge benefit. So go to all these shows that you can go to and just go there with your talking shoes on, because there's a lot of folks, and it's a lot of fun.
There's several different ways to work the show. One is to give out the free home valuations and send out the RPR reports for those leads. So you're working the show to get leads. A second way to work the show is to make sure that you do an interview with me on air during the show. It puts you in front of a great audience. It gives you the feeling of being on the radio, and it gives you a great video to then send out to those RPR report people, plus your whole database to say, hey, here's something I can send to you of value. Here's a video of me talking about it, telling you what it is. If you want it, email me back. And send them that video talking about it. The third way to work that show is that every vendor there is going to home shows across the state year-round to sell their products. They may or may not have a storefront. They may or may not have a storefront with a lease coming up about to expire. They may want to downsize. They may want to change. They may open another one. It's a great opportunity to meet with people who are the owners of small businesses that can refer you business and that have needs for commercial real estate if you want to do any commercial
That's a
real
great
estate.
point.
Another thing we're doing this time at the show, I've started speaking at all of the shows. So my whole presentation is on pricing your house right to sell, and I'm giving away the free RPR reports. Be there in the audience, connect and be there, and see the people who are coming up to me talking about it, or the ones who have questions, and then go directly connect with them and get their information and give them your business card. I don't want those leads. I want you to take those leads. I want you to work those leads. So I'm trying to stir up that business for you, but you have to be there to connect with them. Just some ideas of
Well,
different things.
I noticed too that, I got out there and I talked to everybody. A lot of those people had just bought. And so I was thinking, that reticular antenna that Buffini talks about where they meet other people that are also buying and selling. I was thinking, maybe I need a handout where I can say, hey,
And
now that
they're-
you've bought, here's something to consider.
And this year, they're gonna be, so remind them about their homestead exemption, did you file it? And this year, are you going to be, have you gotten your tax bill, you know what your taxes are? If you need help fighting those, call me for comps. Every time you connect with them, hey, let me email you the homestead exemption form, let me send you some comps when you need to fight your taxes. All those times you connect with them, you're asking for referral business. So it's not just that one time seeing up at the home show and then go, well, they're not gonna buy again for 10 years. It's making that relationship and building that and asking for the referrals. Another way that Meredith used the home value report last weekend was, and we talked about I think John and I talked about this on the air too, was there's a place on that RPR report where you can put in whatever upgrades they're gonna do. So if somebody says, well, I wanna sell my house, but I wanna put in a pool or carpet or whatever they're at the home show to look at, tell them to follow up with you. Give me the amount of money you're gonna pay for that new carpet or that pool or whatever it is. I can plug it into the RPR report. I can tell you how much resale value you're gonna get out of that and what your home will then be worth once you do those upgrades. So whether they just bought a home or whether they don't want to sell and they just want to upgrade their home, you've still got ways to connect with them and work with them to try to build a relationship and have a referral business with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Add them to your database. Stay in contact. Put them on a drip campaign of some sort, and just again, whether they, most realtors, unfortunately in our industry, most people who do business with a realtor, once that realtor closes that transaction, then they're done. And a lot of people say, or actually most people say that they would use their realtor again if they can remember who they were. So make sure that you're the one that they see and remember.
2 houses that I sold where I was taking other clients, and they had a for sale sign in the first one and a moving van in the other one the other day, and I was like, man, if I would have kept
on houses that you sold initially.
I probably would have got those listings.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Something else, kind of going back to those open houses, how I told you, people who want to sell are going to the open houses in their neighborhood. Make sure that whatever neighborhood it is you want to work, make sure you're going in there and showing those houses. Because the worst thing that can happen is somebody in that neighborhood in your farm area calls you and says, well, I don't like my agent, my listing is expiring, and I'm thinking about using somebody else. And you're all excited, great, I want to come see you. And they go, but why didn't you show my house? If you haven't previewed that house, you've never been in that house, they know that. So then they're saying, well, why didn't you try to bring a buyer for me? Why didn't you come through my house? So one of the best ways to be known in your neighborhood is to preview every listing that goes on the market in that neighborhood. And then those sellers know that you showed it. And when their neighbors say, well, are you getting any showing? Well, yeah, that realtor that lives in the neighborhood, she showed it once. They may not even remember your name, but they know that you were there and that you showed it. And word gets around about that because all the neighbors want to know, have you got any showings? Have you got any offers? And they'll say, yeah, that realtor in the neighborhood, she showed it 3 times already.
Yeah, make sure you leave your card when you go and show. Drop your card everywhere.
If it says you can.
Oh, they say you can't in some places?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
If centralized showing says leave your card, then leave your card. If they don't say to leave your card, you're not supposed to leave it.
I didn't know that. I just left my smiling face everywhere I go.
The seller still knows who you are because they get the CSS information.
Right.
So they know who you are. You don't have to leave your card.
Makes sense. Speaking of radio and the home shows, and there's just no better way to build credibility than to say that you're endorsed by Houston Real Estate Radio. Shannon's radio show is the #1 Sunday radio show in Texas. Is it still the case? 7:40 a.m., the radio station that it's broadcast on has over 700,000 listeners. If I'm not mistaken, it's a huge listener, which is what, 8% of the Houston market as a whole? Of the, Houston and surrounding areas. I mean, there's, 8 million people in our area. You figure 700,000 people, that's almost 10% of the listenership. That's the station itself. Your show gets 40,000 listeners a week or more, 40 to 50,000 listeners a week. So a lot of people know that. I've actually picked up 2 listings this year that I was competing with other agents, and I went in with my little seller book and doing my presentation, and had a good presence and all that kind of stuff. And I was dealing with people who had more presence in the area, more of a brand in the area, and using that, we're endorsed by Houston Real Estate Radio. One of the best ways that we're going to be able to service you is that we're going to publish it. Of course, we backed by Houston Real Estate Radio. She's on 740. Everybody knows 740. Most people know about the radio show, and of course, there's other things that we offer too. We'll talk about the blog, things like that. But there's a lot of stuff that this company and that Shannon's worked for years and the media team's worked to build and put together that's frankly for our benefit. So if we're not taking advantage of it, that's shame on us for that. But there's no better way to get exposure.
I'm a regular listener to that radio station, and I hear Shannon all week long.
Absolutely.
They're constantly advertising, so it's not just her show. The presence is there simply from the advertising for the show.
Yes.
It's amazing how many times a day I hear your voice.
Yeah.
It's real common.
Absolutely.
And we have a great following on the show. I had a gentleman who about a month and a half ago emailed me and had a question. And so it was a lender question. So I got a lender on this past weekend to answer his question. And I thought, after it airs, I'll send him the link to the video and follow up and say, hey, we addressed your question. Sunday by 1:00, he had emailed me and said, hey, I heard the show. Thanks for answering my question. Great information. So, I mean, we have a following, a dedicated following that listens every week, and they keep up with what we're doing.
And it's a great show. I don't know if you actually take time to tune in and listen to it. It's an outstanding show. It's fun to listen to. Shannon's got a ton of spirit. Makes it entertaining, and of course all the people. I'm hooked on it. I mean, I listen to it each week, and if I'm out at work around the place on Sunday mornings, I'm tuned in. I got it in the car. That's normally the time I wash the car or mess around in the yard. I got it playing in the truck and listen to it. My neighbors are all laughing about it, especially when I'm on. I'm like, Pete, come here. I'm on this week. Listen, that's me, man. So, but there's no better way to build credibility. Especially if you go to the home show and actually do an interview. And there's other ways that these guys will offer up for us. I'm guilty, haven't taken advantage of it. Something I'm going to focus on this year and try to build. But other people have in the past. You can do other things. 1 minute, the green minute, different things like that. Come up with something creative. Something to build your brand and your presence. And Matt and Shannon have said again and again and again, if you come up with something that's worth putting on the radio, that they'll help you guys do it, and that'll build your presence. A guy who was the mailman, right, at one point in time did the Green Minute, where each week he'd go in one time a month and he'd record 4 1-minute segments, and it was just tips on energy efficiency. Here's what you can do to your house: upgrade your insulation, talk about your windows, whatever the case is. Maybe do home automation. Maybe do, if you're focused on an area that's, the woodlands or a specific area, if these guys will allow, maybe do a woodlands update, or something to that effect, where you get on there and it's offered by Grace Couch at Registered Real Estate Advisors here with your weekly Green Minute on Houston Real Estate Radio. It's a 1-minute deal, and it's something that these guys offer for you. Of course, you got to present it to them, and if it makes sense, then they'll find a way to put it in there. But there's a lot of different ways to get on the radio show. You don't have to just do the home shows.
And any ideas that y'all have that you want to share that you think are newsworthy for consumers. I mean, we've got John coming on to talk with the folks over the Cyfair? No, it's a chamber. I can't remember which one. Lake Houston Chamber. Mm-hmm. And Keith wanted to promote his listing up on the lake. So, we put stuff like that together for you. Marta came on and talked about international business because she speaks Spanish and has a lot of Spanish-speaking clients. So we try to, we allow you to come up with whatever content you want. If it's your content, you come on with me. If you could have a builder you have a relationship with, and you want to bring that builder on to talk about a new development, you're on the air too. You don't just bring them to me. We want you to be on with them because you're building that relationship and that credibility for your own business. And also on these videos, all these shows we've ever done are archived on the website. Every single video. So you can find any subject that your clients are interested in and email them those segments to watch. It's just information out there for you to use. Use it on your Facebook page or, on your blog. You can always email me and say, hey, I want this video added to my blog with this paragraph to talk about what it's about. There's so many ways to use this content that's out there for you.
Yeah. It's an outstanding resource. And what other company, what other brokerage in Houston or anywhere else for that matter is going to give you the opportunity for something like this? And frankly, it's free for the agents. To get radio advertising and any kind of marketing it's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, and it's free, just by taking advantage of the resources we have here. So it's definitely something to focus on. Of course, that guy was on there a long time ago, right? All right. Let's talk a little bit about social media. It's an online world. Everybody starts their home search online. They're online before they think about buying a house. They're online bragging about it when they're looking or asking for referrals and resources. Once they make a decision, they're online, sharing their anticipation with their friends and connections online. So you want to make sure that everybody online knows that you're a real estate agent as well. You want to be careful about that, though. You don't want to over advertise. I would recommend if you're going to do online social media, or since you're going to do online, social media advertising, to go ahead and take the time to take a class. HAR offers a class. It's either free or $35. There's always continuing education with regard to social media, but you want to have a specific balance. They say for every 3 posts you put on Facebook, or I'm sorry, every 4 posts, you want 3 to be personal, 1 to be business. But you want it to be relevant information that people will follow. If somebody perceives you as advertising all the time, they're going to unfollow you or take you off their newsfeed, and then that kind of defeats the purpose. But you want to have stuff that keeps them interested and keep yourself out there. And it's not just Facebook. You want to set up a YouTube channel, so you can share videos on there or upload videos. There's Twitter, there's Pinterest, there's all the different things. Instagram. I don't really know how to work Instagram real well, but my daughter does. But there's all kind of different social media platforms that you can utilize. And there's actually ways, if you're not a computer guru and don't spend a whole lot of time on there and don't want to get caught in the trap of where you're time suckage and just spending all your time going to all these different sites, there's actually automated deals that'll actually update that stuff for you. There's Clout that'll automatically post. You can find relevant information. We're going to talk about that. They'll automatically update to your Facebook page. And then, of course, you can sync Facebook with your Twitter account and different deals like that to where it just automatically syndicates to these different deals.
On Instagram also, you just click a button and just say you want to send it out to Facebook, and it just click.
It just makes it automatic,
Yes.
right? And that makes it easy. And like I said, there's also Clout. It's Klout. Keith introduced me to that, and it's pretty cool. And you can actually schedule posts. So if you don't want to, there's actually, believe it or not, and if you go on Clout, it'll show you, and it's free, by the way, but it'll show you specific areas, specific times where Facebook and the different social media platforms have the most activity. Believe it or not, it's lunchtime. Around 11 o'clock in the morning, people start, the mind starts thinking it's lunchtime. It's time to get off. 4:30 in the afternoon, it just gets flooded with traffic. Well, hopefully we're out, either sharpening the saw or showing houses or doing whatever it is that we're doing to generate income. We're not going to be sitting around waiting to make a post at that time. You can actually schedule these posts ahead of time. Just find the information. It's Clout, Klout. Actually gives you a Clout score. Shannon has a very high Clout score. But basically that's a measure of your online presence, a score of your online presence. So that's a great resource that I started working on and Keith has introduced me to, and that's fantastic. Keith has got a fantastic online presence as well. Talking about posting and shares, guys, there's tons of information. We're going to talk about relevant information to put on there. Make sure that the content you put on is stuff that people want to see. It's that they'll continue to follow you. And again, there's all different places you can do. Google Plus, of course, YouTube, Facebook, your Twitter account, so forth and so on. And of course, don't forget LinkedIn. That's something that Keith and I talk about. The average income, a lot of people focus on Facebook and it's Facebook. The average income for a Facebook user, the average Facebook user's annual income is about $35,000 a year, okay? I mean, it's an income they can buy a house, but LinkedIn, the average income is over $100,000 a year. So let's not forget the LinkedIn account. Make sure you tie that in as well. And of course, that can all be automated. I'm sorry.
On your Facebook, make sure you're using the Registered Real Estate Advisors Facebook page. Make sure you're connected to it. There's videos on there you can repurpose on your own Facebook page. There's also a photo campaign that we've been doing that you can repurpose those photos.
The memes are funny.
You can share all of that stuff on your social media. And if you have any ideas for any of that stuff, let me know. Chris Henry builds all of that for me. If you have an idea for something, let me know. This is an ad that he made for Rebecca. And I'm going to show it to you guys who are in the room. Just remember, all your advertising can be made here in-house. So this is an ad that he made for her for a magazine. So don't forget, you have ads that you can make for magazines and stuff, and you can still post all that on social media as well. It's just like posting a flyer.
That's a great idea. Don't forget me.
So Chris,
That's going in a
Chris can do
magazine.
flyers for us?
Michael does.
Michael.
Chris may be the one who makes it, but you take it to Michael, and
Okay.
he's the one who either assigns it to Chris or he does it. Any kind of advertising that you need for a magazine or a school yearbook that you paid for, anything like that, we make all of that in-house. We do all graphic design in-house. Also, make sure you're connected with Houston Real Estate Radio's Facebook page. It's just Houston Real Estate Radio. and RREA Media. So there's 3 company Facebook pages. The more you interact with those Facebook pages, the better. The more, and I've started doing this on some of y'all's walls, you know, posting things on your walls. Like I just posted on Cheryl's about her 4-year anniversary here at REA. And she had like, you know, a whole bunch of comments and a whole bunch of likes. That helps you look credible in front of your clients. That's why I do that. That's why I congratulate you online and stuff, you know. So the more you interact with each other, the more your ratings go up. You know, so if you post an open house, go around. You know, Meredith, like this open house I just posted on Facebook. Chris, like this open house I just posted. Jay, build those likes up, because the way that Facebook works now is that if you don't have a bunch of likes, it doesn't show up on your friends' walls. If you post something and it gets no likes, no one's going to see it. If you can get a bunch of likes on it, it'll start showing up on your friends' feeds. Then they see it, then they like it, then it shows up on their friends' feeds. It shows up more and more the more people like it. So you want high activity on your post. It's not how many posts, it's getting activity on those posts.
And naturally, the way to get the activity on it is for it to be relevant. You know, make sure you've got the right information. There's a lot of different resources for that. All of the registered real estate sites and vehicles, I guess you'd call it, are excellent resources. You've got Houston Real Estate Radio, you've got Register Real Estate Advisors, you've got the RREA Media, which is the media arm who does all the marketing pieces and videos and all that stuff. Of course, you can go to YouTube. I would suggest, and what I've done is actually automated a little bit to kind of have it fed to me so that I get a lot of information. A lot of times I'll go out and I'll go searching and digging around, you know, if it gets holiday specific or something like that, I want to go find something relevant. But a lot of things you can just have sent to your inbox each day. Subscribe to YouTube channels. For those guys who are on YouTube, you can actually subscribe to channels. So you want to subscribe to the Hard channel, to, of course, the Houston Real Estate Radio channel, so you'll see when there's uploads and the new videos are put up there. You want to subscribe to, you know, anything that's real estate relevant, Buffini, those types of things, and that way you're seeing that and you can share those deals on your wall. And we're going to talk about that with YouTube here in a second too, to make sure that you get autoplay with that. But there's other things you can do. Google Alerts. Are you using Google Alerts? You have that set up?
Yeah.
Remember how we did that? That's a pretty neat deal where you can actually get news sent to your email box that's specific to whatever you're looking for. If you want, you know, everything related to cats emailed to you, you can get an update that says, here's your Google Alerts regarding cats. I've got Houston Real Estate, anything associated with the Woodlands. I live in Tomball, so anything that has anything at all to do with Tomball is sent to my email box. You know, it's my Google Alerts that I get daily and tells me kind of what's going on there. Also in your Clout, whenever you set up your Clout account, it'll show you, you have a place where you can choose interests. If you're interested in faith or sports or outdoor activities or DIY projects or whatever it is that you're into, you can have that information fed to you. And then, of course, you can choose that to be shared and syndicated to your social media platforms. So there's tons of different ways to take advantage of this, and there's tons of different resources. Inman News, I don't know if you guys have heard of Inman News or check it out. It's real estate specific news. There's a lot of great information, talks about market activity, market conditions, you know, forecasts and that kind of stuff. That's great information to use out there. Hard.com, it's not just the MLS. There's tons of information. The videos they put up, of course, on YouTube, but you get all your market data, statistics, all that information is very relevant. And you know, it's information that you can use and share on your Facebook wall that'll establish you as a professional, right? Another great place, and we're going to talk about the blog here in a second, is the Houston Real Estate Radio, or Shannon's blog. Is it Register Real Estate, or is it the Houston Real Estate Radio blog?
Well, we have the blog that they're posting on is the REA.com blog.
Okay, and there's several blogs per week, and it's actually, we're going to talk about it here in a second. We want to take advantage of it, but it was voted the #1 real estate blog in Texas. And that was by A&M, who does a lot of studies with regard to real estate exposure.
And then HAR also has a blog that you can post. You can take everything you put on our blog and then also go put it on their blog as well.
And that's a great way to get your content out there, share your videos and all that kind of stuff. and talk to Matt about specific ideas of how to capture more audience with regard to adding the words, the relevant words for the the target that you're looking for. If you put a video, you want to have a paragraph that's kind of talks about what's in the video and repeat. If it's about Spring, Texas, make sure you say in there Spring, Texas real estate, Spring, Texas real estate. But he'll talk to you about that and really get you some presence. It's a very competitive place. Don't try to recreate it. A lot of times you can go out there and set up your own blog and Active Rain and all these different things. But why recreate the wheel? If you're an agent here, all you got to do is create the content, send it to Shannon, and make sure you ask. And we'll talk about that here in a second. But again, there's just tons of different places to get relevant information that you can share that'll establish you as a professional. All right. Any questions on that stuff? All right. Whenever you put a YouTube video on your Facebook, you don't want to just share it. That's something that I've actually went in and talked to Chris about this morning. I know he's taught you guys how to do it. You'll have to talk to him to get specific instructions, but basically, depending on what browser you use on your computer, you'll want to enable or download it's an attachment or a plugin, if you will, for your browser. Like if you use Chrome, there's a plugin for it, and what that does is enables you and allows you to download YouTube videos to your computer. If you just share the video, it doesn't autoplay. So if everybody's on Facebook, so you're scrolling through Facebook and you see some videos just have the little play button. If you want to watch it, you got to push play, or else you scroll down and you see some that as you scroll across it, it just starts playing. The autoplay is if it's uploaded directly from that person, like you took a video with your phone and uploaded it directly to Facebook. So whenever you're going through, and it takes a few extra steps, but people are going to stop if it's auto playing. I'm a habitual scroller. When I'm sitting there on the phone, I don't know. My wife makes fun of me because I just scroll. I'm just sitting there. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm on the phone." But the screen's just going. But if there's a video that starts playing, it's habit. I just stop and I watch what's happening. It could be a water balloon fight. It doesn't really matter what it is. But if I see movement on the screen, I just stop. And now she makes fun of me for watching videos, but it works. So the way to do that, it takes an extra step to do it, but put this add-on on your browser. Whenever you find the video, what it'll do is it'll put a button. Whenever you're looking at a YouTube video, if you're on the YouTube site, it'll put a button on there that says download. Then you'll download it, and then you'll actually upload it. Like if you go to your Facebook page and it says photo video there on the top of the page, click that button and you'll upload the video at that point, and that creates that auto deal. It is extra steps, but it'll get people to stop and pay attention to what you got going on. So, and of course, with all the videos and all the stuff that you have with the HRER at the website there, the Houston Real Estate Radio website, they've got all the interviews, all the videos. When Shannon shares a video of you, when you do an interview, you want to share that. When you do an open house, when you do an open house or an introduction video, or when you have a listing and you have a listing video, take that and upload it, and it starts scrolling and starts playing when people come through it, and you're going to get more hits and more exposure to it. And when you upload a video, you can actually see how many times it's been viewed. So if you're looking on your wall, you can see how many views, and I guarantee you'll see an increase in the number of views with that. So that's another great way to do that. And again, make sure you have your own YouTube channel too. So if your video is something you want to have professionally produced videos and take advantage of the resources here. But my wife has this thing about videoing our puppy. And he plays all the time, and he's just hyper and runs around the house and barks at himself, and he barks at our beer glasses, and he barks at my other dog, and he rolls around and he barks at the air, and she just thinks it's the cutest thing. So she videos it and uploads it, and she gets more comments and more activities about this silly little dog than I've ever gotten on a listing video. I was like, man, that's crazy. But everybody knows. Now she goes to work every day. She works at the hospital. She goes to work, and everybody on her floor wants to know about the dog. Tell me about Ed. What's Ed doing today? How big is he? How much weight has he gained? He's got these hiccups. Every day he's, gets these hiccups, and he gains 5 pounds, right? Because they're growing, right? So everybody wants to know how big is Ed getting, and show me another video of Ed with his hiccups. So that dog's got more of a fan base than I have. So it's pretty crazy, but videos is definitely where it's at. Talking about the blog, blog. Whenever you upload a video, write something about it. Write it down, put it in a paragraph, write some relevant information about it. Here's a picture of my dog hiccuping. Everybody wants to know about Ed, blah, 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 and send it to Shannon. She's not going to put your dog hiccuping on her blog, But if it's relevant information and it's important, then she'll share it on her blog, which again is the #1 real estate blog in the state of Texas, and it's going to get exposure. So when you have the video, share it. Share it in a blog format as well. I have a little Christmas light business, and Matt helped me out with that, and he showed me when you do a project, take a picture of it and just write a paragraph about where it is and what you did here, and send it, and we'll upload it into this blog, and it just creates a presence. And the more relevant information, or the more current the information is, the more it's going to get hit by Google. Is that correct? And of course, when people are Googling, dog's name Ed with the hiccups, that will surface, or homes for sale in Northampton, or whatever your specific market area is, Burnham Woods or North Spring, or wherever it is that you're focused on. So upload your videos, write a blog about it, and most important, email that to Shannon. That's not on autopilot. Guys, there's a lot of agents here. There's a lot of activity, a lot of listings. They're putting on a radio show. They got people in and out all week. So, take advantage of the resources, but make sure you're self-accountable for that. Send it to Shannon and ask her to upload it, and it will get done, because she works actually 24 hours a day. I was getting emails from her, I think, at 6 o'clock this morning.
So when you want something added to the blog, this is how you do it. You open up your email, in the subject line, type BLOG. That way, when I'm looking through my emails, it catches my attention, because I get 350 emails a day. Put blog in the subject line of the email. Then put in the body of the email whatever it is you want me to post. Don't just send me a link to a video. Google doesn't index videos. Just because I put a video on the blog is not going to do you any good. So for example, Lisa, with your new video that you just made, send me an email, blog in the subject line, and in the body of it, put your bio or whatever you want it to be, and then the link to the video. Because what happens when you make that video, Michael sends it to me for approval. I'm looking at it to make sure there's nothing in it. You haven't guaranteed you can sell houses at a certain price point. You haven't said anything that's going to get us in trouble with Trek. That's all I'm looking for. And I'm making sure that the logos that he's made the video right. Logos are on the end of it, the intro and outro are correct, all of that, right? So that's what I'm looking at. I'm not thinking about, now I need to take this video and put it on Facebook, and I need to put it on your blog and all that. So unless you email me with that, it doesn't make it to the blog.
Okay.
Now the thing to know about the blog is there is one main blog on the REA.com website. And whether Grace posted something, or I posted, or Jay posted, or Chris posted, it's all going on that one main blog. However, when someone goes to your team page on the website, it only shows your blog post. So that's like your own individual blog. That's your content. So make sure that when you look at your team page on the REA.com website, that the blogs are posting. If you're never going to use the blog, never going to post anything, then you want that to be the company blog. You want it to show all the blogs from the company. But if you're going to post every week, you only want it to be yours. You want that to be your blog, where you can tell consumers, hey, I blog every week. Go to this team page. I'll send you the link to it, and watch it. Every week I'm always posting relevant content. Okay? But you have to set it up that way if you're going to use it. Same with your listings on your team page. If you're only going to have one listing, it's not going to look good for you to have your listings on your page. But if you've got 10 listings, have it only your listings. But if you've only got one, I would recommend you have all the company listings there. Okay? But none of that happens by accident. You have to tell us what you want. You have to go in and look at it and see, did it get set up or not? If it didn't, why didn't it? If you go to, if you look at it and it's complete, if it's not set up at all, you go to REA.com, /team, look at the page, you're not even showing up. Okay, well, did you get your video, did you get your photo done? Yeah, I got my photo done. Okay, for some reason it didn't make it from Michael over to Matt to build the page. If Matt says, yeah, I got your photo, but I didn't get your bio, he didn't build the page because he didn't have your bio. So you've got to figure out, you've got to let people know, I want this page built with my photo, my bio, my video, tell us what you want and get it built. Because there's some agents who just don't care, they don't use it, and so we don't put the time into building it. So you've got to figure out what you want. If you want an example of everything that can be put on your team page, look at mine. You'll see mine has the blog on it, mine has listings on it, mine has everything you can have on it, my social media connections, videos, photos, everything. So if you want your blog to look like mine, just email Matt and copy me on it and say everything you want on it. He has the ability to get it done, I have the ability to motivate him to get it done.
And that's just what Shannon's saying is a prime example of, the resources are there. Everything, this company offers so much to the agents that you're not going to find at other brokerages. And it's all there. It's already, they put, years of effort and work into it and really have made it a science. So you don't have to recreate it. All you have to do is ask them to do it. And the secret is that, 98% of the people out there, the agents won't take advantage of this, whether it's at this brokerage or another. The majority of the agents don't take advantage of these resources. So, be that top 2%. What is the statistics in Houston, by the way?
For closing agent?
Yeah, for people, isn't it like,
I think it's 2,500 agents out of 27,000 that actually do transactions.
Like 98% of the business. They say, top 2% of agents do 98% of the volume, and those are the guys who are taking the steps and taking advantage of the resources they have and actually work in the system. So, but blog, that's again, our society is an online society. So the best way to get, exposure even to your immediate circle of influence is, of course, having that online presence.
And
Okay.
it's all free.
Yeah.
That's all free stuff, and it just takes your time doing it.
Matt says that the best thing about the internet is that you can take a very small operation and make it seem huge. So the way you present yourself online is going to, you can make, you can be brand new in the business and you can create an image online. It's like that Brad Paisley song, much cooler online to where it's a whole different world. And, the old cliche, fake it till you make it, really holds true in there because if you have that exposure and you have that activity and people see it again and again, you can't help but be successful because people are going to say, that's the one, that's going to be the one that we're going to remember. This is the new billboards. It's the billboards of 2015. This, you can spend $1,000 a month driving by and see somebody's name on the freeway, and that's all well and good. Hopefully, we'll all get there one day where we can have a few billboards around town. But the real exposure is that, right? So we talked a little bit earlier about home value reports. I'm going to touch on that real quick. There's a lot of different ways you can do it. What we talk about when we go to the home shows is the RPR report. Everybody wants to talk about real estate. If they're buying a house or if they own a house, everybody wants to know what it's worth, right? So the best way to do that is offer home value reports. There's a lot of agents who use this. And let me do a free information for you. So there's different ways you can set it up. You can actually go in and do manual home value reports, advertise on Facebook or whatever your social media, your LinkedIn accounts or whatever, that you'll do a free home value report, curious what your home is worth. When you're talking to people, hey, I'll tell you what, let me send this information to you. You can go into HAR, into your into your MLS system, whether you use the new MLS or the old Tempo system. You can do a CMA there manually. You can go in, you can do the RPR report, which is what we do for the home shows. Are you familiar with the RPR reports yet? Definitely want to take advantage of taking a look at that. And we can kind of show you where that is and go into play, but it's a free resource through the National Association of Realtors, and it gives you, you can generate a 70-page report about neighborhoods, talks about schools, demographics, voting trends, income trends for neighborhoods. It'll tell you everything you want to know about a specific area, and you can dial down to the street, to the neighborhood. It's very specific. Also talks about values naturally. There's other ways that you can do it to where you automate it. You can remind yourself, you can subscribe for things through, Top Producer, for example, has what they call Market Snapshot. And that's just an automated deal that once a quarter it'll email a dynamic, basically a real fancy CMA to your clients. Talks about home values, talks about recent sales in the immediate areas and all that kind of stuff. So you can set it up to be automated. Hopefully you're going to build a database where you've got, like Shannon with 20,000 people in your database, right? You're not going to have time to sit down and create a CMA for each one of those guys every month or every quarter, but you might be able to figure out a way to automate that, but also still keep it personal. Okay, so there's different resources, but everybody wants to know what their home's worth. Everybody always wants to talk about real estate. That's just a great way to stay in front of them, is by, or at least get in front of them, is by offering the free value reports, which is why when we do the home shows, That's the pitch. Is, let's talk about your home's value. Let me give you information on your neighborhood. You're thinking about buying in Northampton. Let me tell you all about it. Let me send you a report that tells you all about it, and that type of deal. All right. Of course, for sale by owners, canvass your neighborhood. Have you converted one yet?
No, but I'm working.
Yeah, it's kind of fun, actually.
It is,
And if nothing else, it gets you, you're establishing relationships. Most people are afraid to work for sale by owners. They just won't stop and say hello. The turn rate on them is not that great. But if you stop and you make the effort and you put them in your database and you follow up with them, most times people have for sale by owner, they're not going to actually get it sold. And, they're either going to leave money on the table or it's going to be priced high and they're not going to get people looking at it. So follow up with them, and whenever they do decide to have a realtor, if you're the one that's had the gumption to stay in contact with them, then odds are you'll have an opportunity to list that property for them. So it's another great resource. Of course, you want to, as you're building your business and creating your brand, stop in to tour the new homes. You're going to go into, you have all this new development, all these new homes being built all the time, all around our area. Stop by and visit those guys, tour those homes. One, it's going to make you an expert in your market. You're going to know what's going on out there. But secondly, you're going to establish relationships with those new home sales consultants. I've talked about a lot of times in these classes, there's a guy named Charlie Russo, and all he does is new home business, and it's specifically referrals from new home sales people. And he just goes in, how you doing? Here's some donuts, here's some coffee. Hey, listen, if somebody comes in and have a representation, help me out with that. And he'll get the referrals for that. And you could also pick up listings.
If you're going to do that, make sure you set aside a budget to that, because it's just like any other business you do. Just like if you were going to work the foreclosure business or any other side of the business, you need marketing dollars to do it, because you need to take a whole box of business cards to that salesperson so that they have no reason not to be handing out your business card. You also, like you said, take them gifts and bribe them. So you're going to have to work on helping them and being their resource when they need something. Find ways that you can help them with their buyer clients that are coming in. And, when they have open houses in their models or they have events, show up, be there, because they're not going to call you if you're not helping them. They have numbers to turn into that builder saying, this is how many people came out to my open house today. This is how many people came out on Saturday. Go help them, like their Facebook page, pump up their Facebook numbers, go be at their meetings so they can turn you in as that realtor who was there supporting them. It's not as easy as just, hey, will you refer me? You have to build that relationship, you have to work it, and you have to put money into marketing it.
Absolutely. So once you make those contacts with those folks as well, you can also, I have another good friend of mine that he would actually go and sit on builders' models. And he'd office out of there. So he'd say, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll office a day a week or, out of here and, just have a presence. So a lot of times these smaller builders or custom home builders are building, Flare Builders is one I've been working for a long time and I'm about to get in. And those guys, traditionally build, they're dipping down in the 400s now. I say dipping down, but generally they're 800 to 1.5 million. And they build all in Creekside and backside Auburn Lakes. And I've befriended some of those guys. So, but it's a small builder, relatively speaking. They don't have a full-on sales force and they don't have a fully manned model at all times, even though they do have spec homes on the ground. So I'm trying to work with those guys. Say, you get me a hot spot over there, or electricity in the house to where I can go and I'll go and office out of there, a day a week or something like that. It doesn't take many $1 million homes to make your bills for the month.
That's right.
So there's a lot of different ways to build business with new homes, and right now there's a ton of new construction. So that's just a wide open. A lot of people are focused on finding the buyers and showing resale. Of course, inventories at a all-time low, but we have a lot of new homes, so there's a good opportunity there. We talk about the online presence. We talk about doing builders and all that kind of stuff, and the tweeting and videos and all that. But we also got to remember to make it personal. That's going to be one of the key things, is to make it personal. Don't forget the little things. We learned all this in the Buffini program recently. You want to do the handwritten notes. That's going to be very important. Follow up when you go out and you meet that builder and you visit with that guy. When you get back to your office, take 1 minute or 2 minutes and write him a thank you note. Hey, thanks for. I know you got a lot of people banging on your door every day. Thanks for taking time to visit with me on this. Write a thank you note for everybody that you contact, but keep it personal. Do your pop buys, bring items of value, whether it be a chocolate or, some kind of a gift basket or whatever the case is, but bring your items of value, and, nothing goes further than a handshake and a smile too. So make sure you keep it personal while you're, maintaining that online presence and all that. Spend the time and do the little things that people remember, because that's what, like I said, we have an online society, and unfortunately a lot of business people out there have forgotten about the little things, and that's something that we spent a lot of time focused on in the Buffini program here recently. So take the time to do that. All right, again, another way to establish your brand and your presence in your marketplace is to join local groups and attend those meetings. Guys, there's tons of different ways that you can do this. You can join your local Chamber of Commerce. Shannon, we're members, right?
We are members of the Northwest Houston Chamber of Commerce.
Okay, so that means that as agents, we can go to all the meetings?
Any events that the Chamber puts on, any breakfast, any events. They have events, they have meetings, they have trainings, they have all kinds of stuff. All you have to do is call them, say, hey, I'm a member of Registered Real Estate Advisors, I want to get on your email list. And they'll start sending you, they send me half a dozen emails a week about stuff they have going on. You can go to any of it. You still have to pay to go to the events, but you don't have to pay to be a member.
Which chamber?
Same with the
Northwest Houston?
Northwest Houston Chamber of
Northwest.
Commerce. Same with the Greater Houston Builders Association. We are members through RREA Media. So just say that you work with REA Media, you want to get on the mailing list for their events, and they will add you.
Ribbon cuttings, all kind of stuff that goes along in your community. If you want to be, join the local groups. They have the meetup, groups that in strategy sessions, you have local businessmen that meet. And if you just go online and look for this, you can find local clubs and local groups that meet. And that's a great way to establish, a connection in the area. Also, you have a couple of different real estate investment groups. If you want to work some investor clients and those kind of guys, those are pretty good clients to work. They're always looking for a good deal, but they've got, they're, generally speaking, they're going to be buying with cash, pretty quick transactions. They do a lot of business, so they know what they're doing. So generally speaking, it's an easy client to work with. But you can join the Rich Club of Houston. I think last time I checked, it was $50 or $75 to become a member of the Rich Club and attend those meetings. They meet once a month down in the city, and all it is investors. They talk about flipping houses, home improvements, all kind of different stuff. There's also other trades that attend these meetings and join these groups. So when you go down to the Rich Club of Houston, you're going to find carpet guys and paint guys and roof guys and so forth and so on, because siding guys, window guys, because they're going down there and they're targeting these guys. We also need a business network that we can, when we talk about Buffini and you have your business mixers, you can involve some of those guys, some of those connections you make at these clubs. Lifestyles Unlimited. I haven't heard a whole lot about them recently, but it's another real estate investment group in Houston, and of course, Houston Real Estate Investing Association. So attend the HAR meetings, go to the events, go to the classes as well. But anything you can do to keep yourself in a, we talk about in a real estate rich environment, and continue to sharpen the saw and grow, but establish that presence in your community. You can also sign up for lead services. There's a bazillion different ways. Now that you're a realtor and your email address is on, with the state as a licensed agent, you're going to get a million emails for different lead services, things that you can do. The first time you publish it, you're a real estate agent on Facebook. You're going to get the syndicate or put search options on your Facebook. Those are all great deals. A lot of fee-based, but there's also a lot of free resources. One that I wasn't familiar with, I got an email at 6 o'clock this morning from Shannon to mention today was HomeSnap. And actually, I'm going to check it out. But I actually was looking at it a little bit this morning, kind of exploring the site, and I'm going to sign up for it. And Shannon was telling me in her email that she had that she knows of an agent that's closed 2 transactions from that. And you said it was as simple as uploading pictures, a couple of pictures of the listings. I'm not real familiar with how it works, but they do have a tutorial right there on the page. And it's tells you how that works and what it's all about. So it looks like it's a pretty cool resource, and I'm actually setting up a profile today, and I'm going to give it a shot myself. But there's endless opportunities for to buy leads from. So, not to mention the fact that the company gives you leads as well. If whenever Shannon sends you a lead, follow up with it, work it, and go after it. and I promise you there'll be more that'll come after that. And they get a lot of hits on the website and a lot of leads. I probably get 4 or 5 leads a week that Shannon just forwards along, whether it's somebody wanting a home valuation or wants to look at a different property or whatever the case may be. But go after those leads and work them. Pretty simple. Ask everybody for referrals. I mean, that's a pretty basic deal. We're in the business of helping people buy and sell homes. We've talked about make sure everybody knows that you're a realtor. Grace, hey, I'm in the real estate business. That's pretty great. If I don't follow up by saying, referrals be appreciated if you know anybody that's looking to buy or sell a home, please think of me. Of course, use your elevator speech or whatever. But you can let everybody know. But if you don't ask, they're not going to think to give. Ask on a regular basis. Do you know anybody looking to buy or sell a home, or anybody looking to make a housing change in the near future? But ask for referrals. That's a big deal. Sales in general, you can have the best presentation, you can have the best presence and all that kind of stuff. If you don't ask for the business, odds are you're not going to get it. So you've worked hard, you've spent a lot of time and energy and money and effort to try to establish that presence and do all that stuff. Don't cut yourself short by not asking for the sale and asking for the business, whether it be the referral or when you're showing a house, it's a perfect house. You guys ready to make the next step? Let's go for the close and get ready to close that.
Chris, there's something that Matt always makes fun of me of is when we drive around Houston, I'll say I'm in a neighborhood, I'll say, oh, I sold that house. Oh, one of my agents sold that house. And he always makes fun of me because my dad is in the heating and air business. He owns a heating and air company in Georgia. My dad's the same way. You get in the truck and ride with him and be like, I sold that lady's house, or I did the heating and air work in that lady's house. That guy over there, he's got a unit on the roof and he had problems because it got stolen. He's always got a story about everything. And so it kind of becomes the same way, but not to that extreme. But the thing is, the more you talk about your business, it sells you better than asking for the business. So any opportunity you get to talk about your business, do it. So for example, if I'm telling Grace about this client I had, and boy, she had such a hard time fighting her taxes with the comps I sent for that neighborhood, that shows depth of knowledge for that neighborhood. I don't have to then tell you I know a lot about that neighborhood. I'm telling you I know a lot about that neighborhood by sharing a story about somebody who lives in that neighborhood and the problems they had getting their taxes lowered. If you're asking me, or if I'm talking to you, about how much housing prices have gone up in this neighborhood, I just can't believe how much they've gone up. Or did you see that new construction going up over there, the builders over there, or this builder, and this builder? That tells a lot more about depth of knowledge than you coming to me and saying, hey, what do you know about that neighborhood? Is me just talking about that stuff. And you can talk about things without breaking client confidentiality. You can just tell a story about, I knew a guy who sold his house over there, and man, he had appraisal problems, and this is how we resolved it, or this is what we finally had to do. I mean, you don't have to be, you don't give people's names, you don't give addresses, but from selling real estate, you have an archive of all these stories and resources. Share them everywhere, all the time. The more you share them, it's reminders of the business that you're in without having to say, hey, I'm a realtor. Remember, if you want to sell your house, call me. Or if you know someone who's going to sell, call me. Instead, be that resource all the time, just telling stories, talking about it. We had a builder out at our office the other day, and he was talking about that new community, and you just talk about it, just making conversation about it. All of those things, it doesn't matter where you are, at church, PTO, wherever you are, just talking about things that you know about and making it relevant really helps to sell you as being knowledgeable and creditworthy.
And that is the very definition of creating a brand and establishing a presence in your marketplace.
And any chance that you get where someone is taking a photo of you or something's happening and they're posting on Facebook, say, tag me in that. Will you tag me in that? Add me to that. Because it adds credibility to me when you've posted something on my wall. I can post all day long and say I was at this training, but when you post it and tag me, it makes it a little tiny bit more important.
Absolutely.
So always when you see people posting on Facebook, you're at an event, hey, will you tag me in that? And that way you're not on your phone, you're not missing anything, but you're getting that credibility of being there. It's always better to have somebody tag you somewhere than for you to say you were there.
Absolutely. All right. Another thing we talked about earlier, most agents out there, when they close a transaction, that's done. They forget about it. Next thing they know, they realize, oh man, it's been 6 months and I haven't contacted this person. Make sure that you stay in contact with previous clients. With follow-up letters, use a client retention module, a CRM. If you're in the Buffini program, whichever works for you, but make sure that you make it a point to stay in contact, do pop buys, deliver items of value, and handwritten notes and phone calls. Hey, how you doing? You guys getting settled in? So forth and so on. This time of year is great to get on the phone and call everybody from the previous year. Make sure they filed for their homestead exemptions, and that type of stuff, property taxes and all that. So just don't forget, they're going to make a housing change one day, and there's no way you're going to generate referrals and keep that front of mind awareness if you don't, take the time and make the effort to stay in contact. All right. Whenever you do list a house, you want to canvass the area around it. When you list a house or you sell it, just go tag at the doors. Do the just sold brochures. Of course, do a blog post. Just sold a house in Northampton, whatever the neighborhood is, where your farm area is. But make sure that you distribute information and let people know that you've just sold a house and keep that front of mind awareness naturally. Another key thing in our business is to make sure you continually sharpen the saw. Our industry is very, very dynamic, especially now with everything that we've got going on with regard to online. Technology is moving so fast. You want to make sure that you stay ahead of the curve. The economy, everything just changes quickly. 4 years ago, we had too much inventory. We were dealing with short sales and all that kind of stuff. And now, 5 years in a grown person's life is not that long. And all of a sudden, 5 years down the road, we have a shortage of inventory. We've got an economy that's just exploding, and we've got more new homes being built, than ever before. 5 years ago, we had half-built homes that were being abandoned by builders because the market was so sour. So you want to make sure you stay ahead of the curve and constantly educate yourself. Get your designations, spend time in school. Take classes like the Buffini programs, go to the Explode Expos that realtors have, the conventions. Spend your time and energy and actually go and do that. Continue to sharpen the saw. And just again, never stop learning, because people are going to know, you're going to know if you're talking to an older agent who doesn't, is old school and doesn't know a whole lot about how the current market works. If you're talking to somebody who's, up to date and understands exactly what's going on, right? All right, and that's what we've got for today. So if anybody's got any questions or that kind of stuff, you guys got some notes. Let's go wrote like 3 pages of notes.
The good thing is, the more you do now in your business now, the less you have to do in the future. When you talk to agents who've been in business for more than 5 years, there's very little marketing they have to do if they did it right from the beginning. Now, if they never did it, and they're still not doing it, it doesn't do any good. But if they built the foundation and they marketed the way they should have in the beginning, then by year 5, they're about done marketing. They still have to they still have to have their business cards out a long time. They've still got to do certain things, some follow-up, have an email campaign, they're active on Facebook. They still have to have a presence and do things. But they don't have to send out stuff all the time. They don't have to advertise in magazines.
There you go, Marta.
They don't have to blog every week. They don't have to do as much because they built such a foundation and are so well known. So if you do it up front right, then it's easier later on. And eventually you can build the kind of legacy you want to be able to pass your business on to someone else and retire. But that takes work. So the first 5 years is building the business. The next 5 years is working the business you've built. And then you can start looking towards what your legacy is going to be. Maybe you want to then grow it, be a team, do something different. Or maybe you want to back out of it and only go part-time and downsize it to where you're sending referrals off. So you're taking all your buyers and referring them out for money and keeping only the listings. Or maybe you're only working with buyers and referring out all the listings. Or maybe you want to do no more business or only work certain seasons. You now have something to refer out to make money. And eventually, when you want to retire completely, you have an entire database of people that you continue to work. You continue to do what you've always done as far as marketing, advertising. But all those leads, now you're sending them to someone else and refer them. I have a girl right now that's doing that with me. When I first went into the real estate business, I remember calling her and saying, hey, I just got my license, I wanna come work for you. And she said, Shannon, I don't take new agents. I don't want you. She said, you go work for a company, learn everything you need to know, and then you come work for me. I was like, oh, she's a big deal, oh, you know. And so I did. I joined the company and all that. Well, now here we are 5 years later, and she called and she said, Shannon, I shut down my business. I moved away, but I've still got people in the area calling me, and I want to now refer all of them to you. So if you can just start taking them all going forward. She gave me 2 the first day. I mean, she's just, I want you to be my person, and I'm just going to send them all to you. So if you can then be that person doing that for someone else. You know how hungry you are now for leads. You know how you would be if somebody called you and said, hey, I'm going to feed you all my leads if you just pay me a referral fee. Would you take that deal? So same with you. Someone else will take that deal from you. You know, once you've built your business, you can then have that referral fee coming in.
Perfect.
Good job, Chris.
Good stuff.
That was great training. I
Everybody
love
good?
it.
Thank you. Thank you.
PowerPoint's awesome.
John, Marty, you guys good?
You know, Shannon, I was just about to say, just me talking, having a conversation with another broker. She knew exactly who you were.
You bet.
And she said,
All right. Thank you, sir. You guys have a great day.